When people talk about the Edsel today, they often reduce it to a joke, a name that became shorthand for failure. But in 1957, when that chrome-heavy front end first rolled onto Ford showroom floors, this was not a joke to anyone standing there in a suit and tie holding a brochure, trying to decide if this car belonged in their driveway. Ford did not stumble into the Edsel by accident. You can see it in the factory photos, the clay models, the design sketches spread across drafting tables. This was a car born in boardrooms and research departments, measured and calculated long before a single grille casting was finished. Ford believed the Edsel would fix a very specific problem, one you can trace simply by looking at old parking lots from the mid-1950s. Chevrolet next to Pontiac, Pontiac next to Oldsmobile, Oldsmobile next to Buick, and Buick next to Cadillac. Meanwhile, Ford owners often disappeared the moment they wanted something more than basic transportation. The Edsel was meant to catch that moment. You see it clearly in the original brochures, the one showing young couples standing proudly beside the car, the man in a narrow tie, the woman in a fitted dress, both smiling like they had just crossed into a better chapter of life. The message was not speed or rebellion. It was progress. This was the car for someone who had moved up, but wasn't ready to announce it with a Lincoln. Ford's designers were told to make sure no one confused the Edsel with anything else on the road. That instruction led directly to the face of the car. The vertical grille, tall and unapologetic, surrounded by heavy chrome, staring straight ahead while every other American car stretched itself wide and low. In studio photos, that grille looked bold. In showroom lighting, under fluorescent bulbs, it became something buyers didn't quite know how to react to. You can almost see it in period footage. People slowing down, tilting their heads, trying to decide if they liked it or not. Step closer, and the Edsel tried to impress you with innovation. The steering wheel, with its push-button Teletouch Drive system, was meant to feel futuristic. Ads showed hands pressing buttons confidently, promising effortlessness and modern control. But real owners didn't live inside advertisements. They lived with wiring, motors, and heat. When those buttons failed, when shifting hesitated or stopped entirely, word traveled fast, especially among buyers who valued dependability over novelty. Production photos tell another part of the story. Edsels were built alongside Mercuries, sharing lines, parts, and sometimes confusion. This wasn't a clean, isolated birth of a new brand. It was messy, rushed, and inconsistent. One Edsel might leave the factory feeling solid and refined. Another might reach the dealer with misaligned trim or small but noticeable flaws. For a new name asking buyers to trust it, those details mattered. Then came the sales numbers, printed in black and white on internal reports. Ford had expected thousands moving daily. Instead, dealers watched cars sit on the lot. The wide bodies, the heavy chrome, the ambitious styling all suddenly felt out of step as 1958 arrived with economic pressure and fuel concerns. The Edsel hadn't changed, but America had. Ford tried to respond. You can see it in the 1959 facelift. The grille softened. The face became calmer, less confrontational. In photos today, many people admit the later Edsels look better balanced, more in line with their era. But cars don't get second-first impressions. By then, the nickname had already stuck, and no amount of redesign could erase it. The final attempt came in 1960, when the Edsel adopted a split grille that looked safer, more familiar, almost Pontiac-like. It was a quiet admission that standing out had gone too far. But when a brand begins borrowing visual language just to survive, it has already lost its identity. When production ended in November 1959, Ford didn't just shut down a car. It shut down a belief, the belief that research alone could replace instinct, that anticipation could be manufactured without risk, and that buyers would accept something different simply because it was new. The Edsel left behind unsold inventory, dealer frustration, and a loss measured in hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet pieces of the Edsel lived on. The Comet, originally developed under the Edsel umbrella, found success as a Mercury. Park a Mercury Comet next to an Edsel today, and you can still see the shared DNA, like a reminder that the idea itself wasn't wrong, only misplaced. If you stand in front of a preserved Edsel now, especially under museum lighting or at a quiet car show, the story feels different. The chrome catches the sun. The grille no longer shocks. It simply exists as a time capsule from an era when Detroit believed the future could be designed on paper and sold through television. The Edsel didn't fail because it was ugly, or because it was weak, or because Americans rejected ambition. It failed because it asked people to feel something they never did. And in the end, no amount of chrome, research, or advertising can force a feeling. A car either belongs in the driveway or it doesn't.